Waterworks and Lighting Commission meeting to order. Welcome to the meeting of the Waterworks and Lighting Commission. The meeting is for the commissioners to conduct the business of the utility. It is not a public hearing. The commission will not be discussing anything that has not been properly noticed and placed on the agenda. The commissioners may but do not have to recognize persons who wish to speak on items that are on the agenda. As chair, it is my duty to ensure that this meeting is run in accordance with the state open meetings law and Robert's Rule of Order. Inappropriate conduct or disruptions will not be tolerated. Anyone engaging in inappropriate conduct or causing a disruption will be asked and then directed to leave. I trust that everyone present will respect these rules in order that the commission can effectively conduct the business of the utility, or efficiently conduct the business of the utility. Thanks. Number 2, approval additions or corrections of the minutes of the following meetings. Personnel Committee meeting held on May 14th.
So moved.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. The regular commission meeting held on May 14th, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion, additions, or corrections? If not, all those in agreement, please say aye. Aye. There are no action items this month. Focus on energy.
Well, I think Sean had something in there from Focus, which was our 2013 results. You want to review those, Sean?
Yes. Look at the back side of the Conservation Manager's report. Flip that page over. It's a brief summary of the results that shows what incentives were paid out to our customer. It depicts the residential and the business side, kilowatt hours kW. What our customers have paid was $144,000.
That's what our customers paid in for the year.
And where that comes from is from the fixed charge rate on our limit to community charge that is charged per customer. And so we definitely made grounds there. About 139% over is what we made on that.
So we almost got back twice as much as we paid in, so our customers got back anyway. And that's it on Focus, I think.
Any questions or comments? If not, Great Lakes Utilities.
Yeah, the Blue Board met here in Rapids on the 20th of May. There was a review of the Lakes Wind project and the financials for it from January through March, and I attached that just an example to your report. But what that shows is, you know, we signed that 20-year deal on that wind project at $38 a megawatt hour for 20 years, and we actually did better than that the first quarter. We ended up only having to pay $12 a megawatt hour for the power because we were able to sell a lot of it into the MISO at more than what we were paying for it, so it made sense to make money off it. So there are reasons for that. At the end of this winter, it was a brutal winter and gas supplies were dwindling, so electric prices were up through, you know, February and March, so that's why we were able to. We'll see if it pencils out that good going forward, but I think that's probably why we ended up doing better than projected on that first quarter. Also, the annual renewable energy report was compiled by Blue and sent to the PSC, so that was reviewed and approved, and also the audit that Shank did of Great Lakes Utilities was also approved at the meeting. And that's about it.
Could I ask you a few questions about Great Lakes Utilities? the wind farm project?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, there's a couple things that, it says there's forecasts by 3-tier, which have been used for forecasting wind output.
Mhm.
What is 3-tier?
As part of the obligation, or as part of the contract, Blue negotiated in with the owner of the facility, getting a wind forecast, so we could accurately predict a day-ahead market for the MISO. So 3-tier is the wind forecasting company that was hired. So it's actually a company that's giving us a wind forecast daily.
And right after that, it says that this has reduced the MISO fees. Is that the fees we have to pay to MISO?
Correct, yes. Because we're getting a better feel for how much production's gonna be there because of the forecast where we were flying blind the first month. So that's why we're getting closer in our totals to the MISO, so the imbalance market isn't, I know it's getting complicated, but the imbalance market isn't penalizing Blue as much as it was if we didn't have the forecast.
So I take it these are all startup issues that are
Correct, yeah.
trying to get. And there's a couple, as in April, there was a congestion issue on the transmission network, resulted in curtailment of the wind output. Now, what would be a congestion issue? No wind.
Congestion issue would be the transmission system was very congested.
And you
So
couldn't get
prices,
the power in, or?
we couldn't get it out effectively, and if we wanted to get it out, we would have had to pay a premium in the transmission rate because prices were up, congestion was up.
Oh.
When congestion's up, price to get a megawatt hour from one spot to another goes up. So that's why we shut it down, because we didn't want to pay the transmission charge.
And that's what resulted in the economic curtailments initiated by Blue?
Correct. That,
So you-
yeah, that, and if the price got, was so low or negative, then we would curtail it too.
So it looks like it happened 19 times, and so April must have been a heck of a month for that. And then it says the total output is at 20 megawatts maximum. Is that for this current period that we're allowed to? Where's that at?
Correct, yeah, because it's normally 50 megawatts, and then they just ramp it down to 20, and they can shut it off altogether if they want. So,
Okay.
Do 20 megawatts. You have a guaranteed transmission for 20 megawatts or not?
well, we have a guaranteed firm transmission for all of it, but again, if the congestion's so high, we're not gonna pay the premium to get it to market, but
But there's no amount of it that passes at a fixed rate. It's all variable rate?
well, the cost of the power, we could be here all afternoon. We have firm transmission rights to get it on the MISO, okay? But congestion and the price of energy is what dictates whether we're gonna run it or not, and how much we're gonna run it.
That tells me there is no fixed amount or fixed price for any part of the transmission. It's all variable.
Well, yeah, the MISO, well, we have firm rights to use it, but if there's congestion, everybody's having to deal with it, yeah. We're not the only ones. And then because there's so much wind out in that vicinity, generally when the wind's blowing hard and all those things are going up, or ramping up, and that's when the congestion picks up too. So we're gonna have to, it's gonna have to be a game we play until they get more transmission built.
And that is in the works.
It is, yeah.
The other thing is, what does it mean to Wisconsin Rapids? This, what did it mean
Well,
to us
in the first-
in terms of our actual cost for energy here?
Well, it all goes through Glue, but essentially instead of paying for the first quarter of the year, where we're projecting paying $38 a megawatt hour off the wind farm, we only paid $12 a megawatt hour, so that was a great benefit to Glue and Rapids from the fact that we paid significantly less for the renewable power than we anticipated.
But that,
So that,
okay. I just wondered what it translated to in terms of thousands of dollars or
Well, and this was kind of a preliminary report by Glue because they didn't have their administrative costs on there too, so this will change a little bit, but I just wanted to give you guys a flavor
Yeah,
for the wind farm.
and this isn't, we have to partake in at least 20% renewables or something? Is that a fact, or?
We
is it a false
have to be at
statement?
10%.
10%?
Yes.
So
within a
this is
couple years.
how we,
Part of it, correct, and some of our long-term contracts that we have with the investor-owned utilities also have renewables attached to it. So with those contracts and this wind farm, it more than meets our renewables requirement. We're actually above where we need to be.
thanks.
And that's it. While we're being complicated, I guess I'll make the commission aware. I know, while I was telling Joe and Tom before we came in, actually our Baker substation at this point in time is on an ATC emergency. We discovered this morning that a 115 kV insulator is completely cracked in half at the seam, and the only thing holding it up is the jumper across the line. So ATC is going to fix that later today, either at 5 o'clock or midnight, or the 2 times that they've given us. But what that means for Rapids is we've only done this once since I've been here, and that means we're going to have to power the whole east side from the west side. And actually, that's why Paul's not at the meeting here today. We're doing all the switching right now in order to accomplish that. And then either at 5 o'clock or midnight, ATC will take Baker down and replace all those insulators, and we'll be back up and running probably in a few hours. But if anything should happen storm-wise tonight or whatever, we're a little more vulnerable, actually much more vulnerable as a system than we would be under normal operating conditions.
Do we communicate that this is going on?
Well, we've communicated with a couple of the bigger industrial customers, and that's it. Last time we did it 2 years ago, it went off smooth without a hitch, but you never know. That's it. Everything went all right, Paul?
Yes.
Okay.
Not a hitch.
Okay, safety committee. Any comments?
I got one comment, Tom.
All right.
Maybe this comes from an old-fashioned person, but when I look at this and see old business and new business, nothing, man, what we had to go through, supposedly way back, we had to stick around for at least 45 minutes and go through a heck of a safety meeting. We were forced into it. And I know there's probably more goes on than I realize, but
Well, I think Chris made them listen to a presentation anyway, so they didn't get off that easy.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I presented the topic for them.
just want to let you know I read it.
Yeah, I know, that's great.
Line superintendent's report.
Busy month.
Can I ask a question now?
Go ahead.
I'm not picking on you because I know you've been busy. On the URD service wire faults and the part power bad connection, are those by any chance lugs or old
No,
wire?
What they are is, the URD service fault, the wire, it apparently had a flaw in it or something like that. Usually water seeps in or something and corrodes the aluminum. Really nothing we can do about it other than, dig it up and fix it. And as far as the part power back connection, same thing happens there. Of course, the tools we have nowadays are a little bit better, but we find that the old crimp-on servants that we used to make connections, sometimes water or something will get in there and also corrode. We also find that during the winter time, frost or water will get in there, and with the thawing and refreezing and stuff, sometimes that'll open the aluminum up and cause a bad connection.
What you're saying is some of the connections I made years ago are bad.
Could be, yeah.
Thanks, Paul. One other question, Tom. Who and what determines the timing settings in the signal lights?
The city and coordinates that with Jim Spencer. They do all the time clocks or the timing of the lights, and then also we have loop detectors in some places that as the traffic passes over or sits over the loop detector, it'll signal, the thing or the traffic lights to either change or whatever. So
City engineering department, to be specific.
I've noticed on some of them, on your loops, on those first ones that are usually 6x6, that the stop bar, if you stay back from it, which a lot of people do because they don't understand, and there it sits, and I've timed it, and it'll go on, and then you roll ahead of the stop bar, and bingo, you're on your way.
yeah,
That's just, people gotta realize that.
just the way it is, yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Anything else? If not, water department report.
Do we know the results yet? I read this rating, but it didn't really tell me what the volume change difference was.
We don't have it back yet. It generally takes them 2 to 3 weeks after they leave site to get the full-blown reports back. So by next month, I'm sure we'll have that for the commission meeting on what the pump capacity was at and where it was when they got done. And it's pretty detailed, so if you want to really dig into it, you can.
Anybody else have any questions? Office managers report. Any questions, any comments?
Continue good results in terms of the rears.
Yeah, the trend continues, so happy with where we're sitting.
Goes the other way, you realize you're going to have to explain why that happened.
Yeah, I've seen how that works.
Any other comments? Director of Finance report.
I got one question on that. That second paragraph. It's the original plan is for the city's health insurance fund to reimburse water and light for the first year costs. It is unknown at this time if this will occur.
That is correct.
Do we have an answer yet?
We do not have an answer yet. The health insurance group is kind of waiting a couple more months to determine where premiums are as far as claims and determine what the balance of that fund is going to be.
Okay.
If they're going to reimburse all, part, or none of that contribution.
This analyst is a waterworks and lighting person, or that's working on a rate case, or this is someone that we've contracted with?
That is with the Public Service Commission. They're analysts on their end.
Okay. Is that going to be a major upset?
They're claiming it's not going to be, but we haven't heard anything in the last couple of weeks from them, so we'll follow up again with them at the end of the week, just to make sure we're still on track.
Any other comments, questions?
There's been rumors that everything has been slow with PSC lately. I mean, it's not rate cases, everything. So I don't know what the issues there, whether they're understaffed or what's going on. But
So everything's at a standstill, you're saying?
pretty much, as far as regulation goes, or
Yeah, quite a bit of discussion at the Mule meeting about that. They were a little overwhelmed, that group.
That's a nice word.
Any other comments? Information System Administrator. How's the field inventory going? Just about done?
Yeah, Moses is actually working with, our summer hire was Craig Spencer, and Moses seems to think by the end of this week, early next week, they should be.
Really? Wow, it's pretty good. Your number 2 is tools and training for GIS. Have you got into that yet? Is there some kind of program that everybody's going to go through that needs to know about how to operate GIS?
Yeah, that's kind of, once they complete their part of it, then we'll be able to send that information to NISC, who handles our software package for it. Then they can do their conversion, and the implementation date is actually the end of November. It's already set. So we just need to get them the data so they can convert it. They'll come in and do training with the technicians, with the engineering techs, and then we'll be up and running end of November.
The outage management system, have you chosen one yet, or is it?
By the same company, and it's
the
actually
same
going to be
company
done at
and
the
everything.
same time as the engineering tools.
It's really a sad time for you because 3 of us we listened for 2 days about all your the GIS inventories and the smart meters and everything that you're involved with. Someday you have to probably go through everything with us on how it all operates.
Yeah. Well,
The outage management system looks, that we saw, looks pretty neat then.
I think, as far as, because of our size and the way that we operate, we may not use it in the traditional method. It'll mostly be used on the engineering side for reporting purposes, but it won't be used for like dispatching and those type of issues unless we have a really major outage.
Oh.
And a lot of experienced people.
Yeah.
Even they kind of make mistakes. That poor guy tried to show us how good it was. And he, wait a minute.
Anything else? If not, Conservation Manager report.
Somebody explain to me what AWSense does?
It looks for losses in our system. So it's a metering tool that we can use on our system.
How does it function? I guess that's my question.
With CTs, basically you clamp on amp meters and a software package that lets you analyze the loads. And we do have Moses and Sean working on that project. One thing, since I've been here in 2006, that I haven't been real pleased about at the utility is our losses. I think they're higher than industry standards. So this was a project, and we covered this in the budget the year before, but this is a project to try to help reduce our losses. Wherever we may find them, there might be metering issues, they could be transformer issues. I just don't know until we start getting this product around the system to see. Everything else we've been able to get a handle on and correct or install new systems or whatever, but our losses are still probably every year 0.5% to 1% higher than what they probably should be. And anytime you correct a loss problem, it goes straight to the bottom line because it's basically what you build out versus what you didn't build out. So yeah, they've got it in Buren now, taking a look at a few different areas. So we'll see what happens.
It does require like a manual intervention to.
Correct.
Yeah, look at a particular segment of distribution.
Correct. Yeah. The software helps you cipher it all out, but yeah, it does take some manual inputs and a trouble truck to hang the CTs and stuff like that.
Engineering Supervisors report. I just had the question about the disconnect switch that's locked in place, and if it was a budget item, or if we're gonna do it whenever it's the opportune time, and I guess we're gonna do that out of our operating budget. Because it's kind of critical to get it fixed.
Yes, eventually. This insulator is more important at this point in time, though, that's.
She's the one on the APC side.
This is not an opportunity to do it because
I don't know, Paul, we don't even, did we even order this switch yet? So we don't have it.
That's, we don't have.
The problem, and me and Todd were looking at ways, because every time we do this switch the east, or the west to power the east, it makes both of us nervous. So we were looking at ways, we were gonna reconductor the stuff under the bridge to make sure it was gonna hold, and we were gonna do a few other things before we did that, until we found out we have this ATC issue, and now we don't have a choice. We've gotta do it. So when Todd gets back from the APPA conference, we'll talk about how we're gonna handle that and get the switch ordered.
Otherwise,
But you're right, it would have been a perfect situation to.
You've already done the switch and.
Yeah. But if we don't have to take it out or do any other switching, I mean, we'll probably wait until the loads go down and do this in the fall.
My question, Jim, on this ocean spray voltage thing, after reading, are they doing all that's necessary for prevention, or are we always going in and?
Well, I think from a standard practice that they should have some UPSs on their equipment, yes, because our system's designed to operate and clear fault, and if they can't ride through a half a second outage, which was what they had a couple weeks back, then they're gonna, you know, they have their own dedicated feeder as it is now, so I know Todd and Sean are continuing to work with them on trying to get some UPSs on their equipment, and then they won't see those bumps.
Are they amenable to this, or they feel that this is excess cost for them?
I don't know whether they've commented yet, have they? Not to me. I know that as soon as Willard got the email, he sent it to the engineering guy and says, get some people in here to start looking, so.
They have essentially about 29 PLCs that should have the UPS backup. Two are very essential that they would put the UPS backup on. I know that's what Todd had suggested that they would look into. So I know they're in the process of at least backing up those two. It would be critical to their system.
It was, yeah, I think it was kind of surprising to Todd when he got through there that none of it had UPSs on it. It should have, when they put the plan in, typically they do on the critical
Yeah,
stuff,
I would
so.
say that would be pretty standard
Yeah.
practice for electric drives and.
Correct. So we're working on that with them, along with a way for them to get a better handle on water consumption, so.
General manager's report, I don't know if you have anything else to report. We go over that Great Lakes water.
No, I don't have anything else unless anybody's got questions.
All right, review accounts payable. Page 3, I have one, Department of Revenue.
Sure.
2013 prepaid, minus 205,000. Was that overpayment of taxes?
What you're seeing there is just the accounting of how that works. That whole payment's our gross revenue fee, which we pay on revenues outside of the city. So you really just need to look at the bottom line. You know, we paid 79,000. It's just how we end up accounting for that.
Okay, it's just an accounting.
There's
Print,
multiple
yeah,
lines to
yeah,
get to
okay.
that number.
But you didn't deposit the cash with the IRS for a year.
For the prepayment,
Yeah,
The Department of Revenue, so we'll make a payment in October, and then we do the final payment in April or May.
And that's pretty much all state mandated.
Right, they're all, the dates are set there, so we do make a payment for that $200,000 in 2013. We're backing that out to get to the $79,000, which we own in May.
So in fact, they are using utility money for 6 months?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's just like the quarterly taxes, you know, you need to file twice. It's kind of the true up right here, and the final payment is in May.
It's a little less than the pilot payment, so.
Yeah, nonetheless. It's not convenient to have someone else use $200,000 of your cash for 6 months. If there's a way to avoid that, we ought to find it.
Page 9, Wisconsin Emergency Management Annual Chemical Inventory Fees. Is this pretty much the caustics and the polymer for the water plant?
These are they had to run some, they have to do annual certifications. I don't know if you know anything more about this, Chris, but I think they have to do kind of plans, and this is for each one of the collector sites where we have chemicals.
Yeah.
Kind of what happens, and this is just the fees associated with filing those plans.
Yeah, it's generally a fee with, you know, if you have over the minimum, you have to pay, or you have to, you know, there's a threshold, I believe, and when you're at that threshold or over, then you have to go to the emergency management and make sure that they know it, and of course you have a fee with that.
This is just our annual plans, and I think they were, because of the changeover of that water engineer position, they were filed late, so those are the costs associated with those.
When we do this well cleaning, the Vanny cleaning, do we get hit with extra storm sewer charge, or is that a consistent?
When we do the cleaning, the actual cleaning, I think they just pump the water out on the
land,
wellhead, right?
Yeah.
Can we jump back to page 3, Tom?
Sure.
This repaying beer and electric material, it come up to a price, and then I see on page 5, there's another $3,000. Did they make a deposit that we had to give back, or what was?
What is he looking at, Joe? Is it your industrial park?
From Rusco?
Yeah.
Did we borrow some stuff from Pupco, or use some inventory? I can
We
check.
did.
We did?
I know we did, for Gainer.
Okay.
When we had that sub issue on the bus
Oh,
bars.
yeah, no, yes, we did.
Okay. So some of that might be where
A
we
year ago or so.
borrowed some, you know, inventory from the mill or Pupco, and then we're just keeping them back what we borrowed from them.
I went through that 2 years ago.
Happens in emergency cases, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody has the answer to this on page 13. What's soy broth?
Transformer
Is somebody,
oil.
okay.
Transformer oil.
Funny name?
They're using soy-based instead of oil-based now, so.
Okay.
No more PCBs.
And we had Energis come through and change the oil in a few of our substation transformers and raise the levels. It's a every couple year maintenance type thing.
Jumping back to page 10, just out of curiosity, flower basket arms for $6,360. Is that another way that we're making the town look better?
Correct.
Thank you.
That was at the request of the city and the flower committee. They do look pretty nice. You run down Grand yet?
Anything else?
Any comments on the cash flow statement?
We typically have these shoulder months where you're getting your demand and your power bill from the month where things are starting to ramp up, but again, your cash flows from the month before, so you've got these shoulder months where your cash flow is negative. We'll be able to, ride it out into May, and we rode it out into May, and then June things will kind of turn around and we'll start collecting more than we will. But yeah, it's quite the swing when you hit those big months when they start changing.
What impact would the rate case have on that, if it's granted?
If we're looking at a 6% increase in rates, that's typically that 2.7 million times 6%, which is half of that deficit roughly.
Okay. Still have the shoulder month effect.
Right, and again, that's with that switching, like I mentioned, I think if we switch some of those customers over, that PCAC is not swinging as much, so hopefully those shoulder months aren't as big as they've been in the past.
Yeah, we are mitigating that by trying to switch some of the industrial customers to a different billing cycle to more accurately reflect in our PCA and to help on the shoulder months.
Anything else?
Unless you want a motion to adjourn.
I would like a motion to adjourn.
I just did.
Second it.
All those in agreement, please say aye.
I don't know.
Aye.